What is up? What is up, fellas? We are going to be tackling a Dynasty startup mock draft today for you guys. We're going to do this one pretty bog standard rule settings. It'll just be, Superflex PPR, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, nothing crazy. No 3 RRs, no tight end premium, no 6 point per passing touchdown, no big play bonuses, nothing like that. It'll just be pretty straightforward. I did drop the link in the chat if you guys want to join the Dynasty startup mock draft. Danny, if you want to share your screen so that we can get the board on for it. We do have a couple folks in the chat already. We got Bailey in the chat saying, what up? Are you guys planning to do a video on the Flocked Up League? We are planning to do a video on that league, recapping the absolute mayhem that startup was. Bailey, I think, owns the entire 2026 class right now. Some people have no picks for 2 years. Like it is a crazy startup that we endured. And it recently ended about, I don't know, couple days ago, I think, or a couple weeks, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Hey, and you guys will see in that video, I mean, Corey kind of just alluded to it. I'm usually the guy that's hoarding fucking picks and startups, but when I'm fucking playing against you guys and you guys know what I'm trying to do, I kind of had to yang while everybody was yin in there. I actually am one of the people that did trade some picks.
yeah, for sure. I remember we'll discuss all that in the actual thing there. So, Danny, if you want to roll the draft order here, and we will get this thing started because the draft is full. Like I said, for those of you guys that are just joining in, nothing crazy. It's just a Dynasty Superflex 12-team kind of PPR startup. If you want to go to the roster settings there, it's just a 2 quarterback, obviously, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and then 2 flex, and then a tight end spot. So it's not going to be anything crazy. I noticed a lot of the team reviews we've been getting. And by the way, our team reviews are now available for a la carte purchase. So if you guys want to just buy a team review, you don't actually even have to be subscribed to the site to get it. Although you do get a 30% discount if you are subscribed to the site using our promo code. Or if you're subscribed to the site using another, promo code like Flock or Land or whatever, you also get, I believe, a 15% discount if you want it from us. So we go through your team, basically give you like a personalized podcast, personalized Dynasty Decisions episode that we send you using our My Teams feature on Flock. And we kind of recommend trades for you and all that kind of stuff. So if that does interest you, that is a new feature that we have. And of course, annual subscribers get a free voucher for a free one too when you sign up using our promo code as well. So let's get this thing kicked off, Danny. Let's start up the draft here.
Sir.
And we'll get this going. Both of us kind of in the middle of the first round, not usually the case.
Toronto Dave in the chat. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. I've been seeing your little clips at the driving range working on that swing. And I was telling Corey off camera, literally right after the stream, have a tee time booked today for 2:30 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully I can just shoot a nice round, man. It's actually crazy because, I mean, we were talking about it, Corey, a little bit, but I got a whole new set of clubs this offseason. So last year I was using, a $100 used set of clubs. I didn't even have a fucking driver. I had an undersized one wood pretty much. I get my new set, and I swear I've been shaving like 10 to 15 strokes off of what I was shooting last year.
Yeah, I mean, you've also been golfing a lot more, which is probably the big part of it too. It's just when you get in a rhythm of golfing. Like I have not golfed a lot this year at all. Usually I golf.
We gotta change that soon.
Once a week, or a couple times a week sometimes. But I've maybe been out like 3 times this year, 4 or 5 times total. I haven't been out too much. I think I was in Europe. I was in Mexico. There was like a bunch of shit going on.
While you were in Europe, I'm like, well, I'm not in an exotic place, but the place I can be is on the course, So I've been doing that. Also, I will take my 106 in startups. Get him at a 1-pick valuation compared to where I have him with Caleb Williams.
Yeah, not a bad pick there at all. I mean, you probably know I'm looking at Joe Burrow here, most likely on the board. Your boy CD is on the board too. I think I'm just gonna roll with Burrow. Sometimes I like to experiment in these mock drafts and kind of see what I would do in a real draft, but I'm just gonna keep it simple here and take Burrow. Caleb says some quality content this week, fellas. Brother. Appreciate it, Caleb. We will have we broke down the running back class this week. I will have a site exclusive video live tomorrow, basically where I go through and based on, say, if Ashton Jeanty gets top 15 draft capital, how does he stack up in the prospect model? If he gets top 50 draft capital, how does he stack up in the model? Going through the entire class, kind of going through the hit rates over again as well. That will be a site exclusive video as well. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll be doing that. And then we will be kicking off watching some of these wide receivers. Hopefully, I haven't watched a single guy yet outside the ones I watched last year. So we probably won't have that video until later in the week, probably like Friday, Saturday or something like that. But we're just going to do a top 10 wide receiver video instead of, 15 like we did for running backs, just because the wide receiver class, not nearly as deep by the looks of it as the running back class was.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the running back class looks absolutely phenomenal. And it's actually funny because there was a little bit of a debate in our Devy chat. So if you guys are unfamiliar, Devy Degeneracy, we started this offseason, finished the NFL portion, and we started our Devy portion. And there was some controversy a little bit in the chat yesterday when I took one said Ashton Jeanty at 103. I don't know if some people haven't watched him. I don't know if they have watched him, if, what they're seeing to not like him, but an ultra productive 3-down running back that is the most efficient running back across a bunch of metrics in this class. Listed at 5'8", 215, man. Like, you guys know our thoughts from the running back rankings video, but that sparked a little bit of debate in chat for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people got, and I was pissed because Danny picked 103 in the Devy startup, and I picked 105 or 104, and I was totally expecting to get Jeanty there, and he picks him, so I traded down. I ended up pocketing a future first and second for trading down just a couple spots in the first round, and then trading my second for my third rounder. Of course, that sounds like I got a huge deal in it. You got to remember too that the rookie pool will be depleted next year, but the first and second from a team that I personally don't believe is in the right direction yet. So I think it should be relatively an early pick. I mean, in our previous Devy league, the one that we did last offseason, like the top of the board still had guys like Jaden Daniels, Romo Dunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Legette, Adonai Mitchell, guys like that kind of emerged in college football this past year. So I still think even if I got a top 5-ish pick, it's probably worth about a late first, early second in terms of an overall rookie pool, depending on how many guys we actually get that break out this year that were kind of unknown quantities. Because if none, but I think the reason I think it's decent time to trade for like a depleted rookie first is because the quarterback class all over the place.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad you mentioned that, right? Because last year, there's a little bit more certainty amongst the prospects. We knew Caleb Williams. We knew Drake May. We knew Marvin Harrison. We knew Malik Neighbors. We knew, he ends up coming, of course, potentially in 2025 class, but we knew about Emeka Egbuka. We knew about a lot of the top end prospects for the 2024 NFL draft in hand the previous offseason. Again, the running back class, I feel very, very confident about. I feel very, very confident about the top two wide receivers, but like, there's a lot more ambiguity, I would say, going into 2025 than even there was in 2024.
Yeah, and I mean, the tight end position has some guys that could emerge too, because we don't really know, aside from, your boy Colston Loveland at Michigan. We have Luke Lachey at Iowa. We have Oscar Delp. People are projecting into kind of Brock Bowers' role, which doesn't seem like a wise exercise, to be honest, because Bowers is kind of one-on-one. But the wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end classes specifically, I think will have some guys emerge. And if guys emerge in the running back class, this might be a legendary running back class, to be honest, because if we get guys that we don't know about coming out that are also superstar prospects, it's going to be pretty crazy. But yeah,
can't wait.
An interesting way to play it. Again, I basically trade down from 104. I wasn't going to take Jeremiah Smith, the 2027 freakish Marvin Harrison wide receiver prospect at Ohio State. I wanted to take a 2025 running back, and I got Ollie Gordon at 107 as opposed to taking him at 104 when you took Jeanty at 103. So for me, I think it was a pretty fine move.
100%. Because when I picked the 103, I just assumed I'd be taking another Jeremiah Smith share. But then, of course, we end up putting out that running back rankings video. I really get caught up in this class. And obviously, again, you look at the Jeanty profile and you think, okay, really good receiver, really, really efficient runner between the tackles. But there's always the concerns, the group of 5. But when you actually plug on the tape, you realize, dude, it doesn't matter what his opponents are doing on those certain plays. Like, he's fucking making fucking spin moves in the hole. He's fucking making somebody completely miss in the hole. I understand when you're making people miss in the open field, that's maybe not as translatable, group of 5 versus power 4. But when you're doing it behind the line of scrimmage, when you're doing it between the tackles, where you're fucking having to make somebody miss in a fucking area this big, that's translatable. That will fucking work.
Yeah, no, I get people having like pessimism, a concern with the actual level of competition. But to me, I watch the tape, and it's not just us too. Like, all the big NFL draft scouts are pumping Jeanty up as like a top prospect in the class. Like, I saw Ian Cummings talk about how he might be his highest graded running back since Bijan. And I'm like, yeah, like that. It kind of lines up with the profile that we're looking at on paper. And exactly what I've seen on the tape as well. So do have some comments here. Let's rip through some of these here. Space Ricky with some outer space emojis, UFOs. I don't know what that is. What's up? I'm in there with y'all. What's going on? Pack it up. How do you view Rachaad White in Dynasty? Volatile due to the strength of the class? Yeah, I would say any fringe running back who could lose the Rachaad White. Rachaad White, I don't think is like a fringe running back, but like Zamir White types where like, they're not going to be starters this time next year because of the strength of the class. Those guys are purely like kind of 1 year rental. Like only if you're competitive would you hold an asset like that. And even then like sell on their 1 year production window right now. So I'm on the board. I think I might take, dude, I got a tough decision here. I got Waddle. I got Odunze, a couple guys. I kind of went for more of like a competitive shell with Burrow and Lawrence. So I'm going to grab Waddle over Odunze here and kind of see what happens with my next pick.
I have Olave ranked higher, so I have to go Olave, but I consider taking Rome Odunze to stack with Caleb Williams in this mock draft.
I might have done that if I were you, to be honest.
I thought about it.
Olave is a guy that I'm kind of coming around on a little bit because as we talked through him for our wide receiver rankings and redraft, I'm like, there is definitely a world where he has a pretty big season this year. And I think he's a solid buy in Dynasty. Like I sold him for a projected early to mid 1 and 2 in one league, but unless you're getting something like that, or unless you have to pay something like that, which I don't think you have to in a lot of leagues, I actually think he's a pretty decent buy right now.
If you can tell me I can turn Tyreek and Worthy in the chase, I'm doing that deal 10 out of 10 times and rushing it in.
Oh, appreciate you, Bobcat. Yeah. Appreciate you.
There you go.
I did get engaged while I was in Europe, so I really appreciate that. Rylan says, what do I do if I never got a voucher? So Rylan, we only implemented the team reviews feature in early May, I think, around then. So if you signed up prior to that, you probably didn't get a voucher. Like if you signed up for an annual, let's say in March or something like that. But if for what it's worth, like I'm not going to be super picky about this. If you guys signed up in March for an annual and you want a team review, just DM us on Discord, on Twitter or whatever. And on the back end, we can create a free voucher for you. Like I know, from Mason's perspective, Mason has a much bigger audience than we do. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to make it a cutoff, but it's understandable. Like he's just going to get flooded with anybody who's ever signed up with an annual for him. But with you guys, like I'm honestly like, if you signed up for an annual, I want to reward you guys with a free voucher. So if you did sign up prior to like when we had the team reviews feature in place, just get after us on DMs on Discord or Twitter, and we'll give you a free voucher.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, at the end of the day with Mason, I mean, we're talking about what he has,
his audience is 4 or 5 times the size of ours, so it makes sense to be just swamped with team reviews.
Yeah, 100%. Bought a couple first after your running back. Yeah, let's go, boys. If you guys have not watched that 2025 rankings video for the running backs, we're pretty damn excited about some of these guys coming out. I'll just say that. Not just
all right. Sorry, Danny. I'm gonna break your heart.
No, you did that in the freaking draft too, you asshole.
In the day, the Devy Degeneracy draft, I did that as well. Hey, we can make a trade.
Hey, I got Zay Flowers. I mean, we could work.
I broke your heart on Lad McConkey a little bit too.
Oh yeah. No, I was hoping one of them.
I'd be interested to do a Zay and swap for McConkey and who was the guy I took? Nico Collins.
Yeah. So Zay and what?
It was Zay and JSN that you took around the range that I took McConkey and Nico, but I would obviously need something on top of that to do that swap. You're on the clock, by the way.
Oh, I am. I will take probably another wide receiver. God damn.
You go DJ Moorstack.
I mean, I could. Let me just take a look at the board quick. I mean, like, can I really? It's a start 9. I think I can't pass on Brock Bowers. I'm not gonna lie. It's mid 4th and a start 9. Give me the advantage.
I'm really uncomfortable with the fact that I have absolutely no Brock Bowers in Dynasty, like not one share. Every league I tried to get him into, like I'm in literally 13 Dynasty leagues. I didn't get him one time. I just couldn't get him. Like he went a pick ahead of me in so many rookie drafts. I haven't quite been willing to hit the button on him in startups. I'm getting my bags are full in best ball of Brock Bowers. So I'm getting my fill somewhere, cheap. But it's making me uncomfortable that I don't have very much of him, or I literally don't have any of him in Dynasty right now. And in the no flocking league is the one league I have a chance of getting him because I have all those picks and I need a tight end, and the guy who has Bowers also has Laporta. So I've been trying to make moves for him in that league, but it's been rough go so far.
For sure. How much do you value QB3 and Superflex if you have 2 elite quarterbacks? I like if you are loaded and you like have the opportunity, let's just say you lucked into somebody else's pick and you can select a Caleb when you already have 2 elite guys. Like obviously, again, you try to do your due diligence, try to trade down on the clock. But if nobody's offering you value for that pick, I usually more so use it as trade leverage in season. If I'm forced on the time, I cannot get a deal I feel good about, I will take that player and then sell them when I know I can get that value. So really, again, I don't strive out there to add another elite quarterback. There's some certain situations where the market at the time isn't as fruitful as you would expect. And inherently, given the young value of quarterbacks, that you'd have a later flip opportunity. But I do eventually, if I have 3 elite guys, would want to part one into another elite wide receiver asset so I can get that point equity on top of the value insulation.
Yeah, I think it only comes up when it's just a clear best player available situation. Yeah. Like I think last mock we did, you ended up taking 3 quarterbacks because Drake May ended up falling to you or something like that.
Exactly.
And I personally, like, obviously in a real startup, that's when you're hitting the phones and you're trying to trade down because you don't need that quarterback asset. You'd rather trade it on the clock than you would actually have to make the selection, most likely. I mean, I guess you're going to get a good answer for this question based on both of us having 2 quarterbacks already too, in terms of what we're actually going to do in terms of the tier caliber of quarterback we're going to get as our third guy. For me, the range that I like taking a shot in, depending on where they fall, is the Will Levis, Bo Nix, Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield kind of area.
Like, and if you hypothetically get sniped on that tier of guys, like for example, in the Devy league that we just did, I was able to get as my 2 quarterbacks, Jordan Love and Caleb Williams. People started taking quarterbacks a little bit higher than I wanted to. And obviously, of course, I'm not going to overinvest in terms of capital in my quarterback 3 spot. So I ended up waiting. I ended up getting like Russell Wilson, I think in the 12th round. Like that would be like the edge of it. Like Russell Wilson's probably like the bottom of that fucking tier that I feel comfortable with grabbing.
I think Geno's the end of it for me. I wouldn't even go as far as Russell Wilson or even like a Daniel Jones or something like. I just can't. I need somebody a little bit more secure in terms of their job security than that. The range like that I feel best at, like I said, is take a swing on Nix, Levis, Penix, somebody like that.
No, that definitely makes sense. Again, obviously that's a more comfortable tier to be able to work in. But I will say, if you are left in that situation, at the end of the day, is your quarterback 3 your most valuable spot? Because let's be honest, in season, can you trade a 2nd rounder for like a Baker Mayfield type? Like I think that should be.
Well, not to mention just like when you're building out your starting roster, if you have 2 elite quarterbacks, there's a very good chance you're competitive. So especially out of a startup, do you want to spend a 6th or a 7th round pick on your 3rd quarterback when that 6th or your 7th round pick could be a very productive RB2 for your team or a very productive wide receiver 3 for your team?
Yeah, for sure. So where did we leave off
here? I got it here. We got Kyler getting the round 1 respect. Nice. Yeah, he's a guy that people are sometimes split on, but we kind of agree that he's definitely a guy that we want to be overweight on and have him a little bit higher than the market does. The work you guys are doing, the analytics,
appreciate
the articulation, love that. Gentlemen, very professional. We love it. I really appreciate that. I've never heard good articulation content here.
Especially considering I throw my fair share of F-bombs around every now and then,
Yeah, no kidding.
I will take my boy Brian.
Yeah, not bad. In half PPR, what's the difference between Jefferson and Bijan? What's the difference in half PPR? A 2026 first enough?
I would
not pay a 26 first and Bijan for Justin Jefferson and half PPR.
Crazy.
You can call me crazy. I wouldn't do
crazy.
it.
I
would not do
Jefferson. That. I would take Jefferson, bro. I'd take Jefferson.
In a half PPR, I would take Jefferson, but I'm not paying a first to do it.
Okay, so I have Jefferson ranked 109, I believe, in my startup rankings. I have Bijan as, I think, my 20th overall player. Let me take a look exactly where I have him.
Dude, are we about to have this situation right now? This exact situation we were discussing. I have JJ McCarthy on the board right now.
Oh, yeah. I am not going to lie. I didn't
McCarthy even there. Like I'm not even super high on JJ McCarthy, but he should have been gone right. Like wherever Tua and Jared Goff go is where JJ McCarthy should be going.
I'm not even going to lie. When I was on the clock, I was stressed to make a pick. I didn't even see that he was available because, going back to that conversation, I would have taken him over Brian Thomas. And I love Brian Thomas. You guys know that because JJ McCarthy 5'9" is absurd. Like straight up absurd. He should be
that's a pretty crazy value. Like I said.
Yeah, I wish I saw him. I'm not gonna
lie. Like I'm personally of the opinion that if you wanted to take Tua or Jared Goff, if you're a competitive build, I don't hate it. I know you would definitely take McCarthy regardless of situation. But
I understand it though. More so like specifically in a startup, I would take JJ. But if you're in a situation where you need to trade for a quarterback and you're a more competitive team and you said, okay, listen, the cost for JJ versus the cost for Tua and Goff is similar and you wanted to gear towards the vets at that point, I'm honestly not going to fight it because, again, I love JJ. Again, if I knew he was available at the 5-7, he would have been my pick for the record. But yeah, I mean, you got the insulation of the draft capital, you got the insulation of the situation, you got the insulation of Kevin O'Connell. And quite frankly, I mean, we see Brock Purdy here go at the 310. If JJ McCarthy, more natural creator out of structure with the same type of upside, given the play caller, given the offensive surroundings, he's got the opportunity to be a second-round startup pick next year if he shows that type of promise in his rookie season. Again, is he going to start his full rookie season? Probably not, but whether he comes in week 3, whether he comes in week 6, whether he comes in week 8, I do feel like there's the opportunity, given the situation around him, given the surrounding talent. Imagine if Brock Purdy had first-round draft capital.
That's literally exactly what I was just going to say. It's like if Brock Purdy had first-round draft capital is what JJ McCarthy represents. And McCarthy, you could argue, has better physical tools to be able to run the football and stuff too. I personally have long said that I think Brock Purdy has underrated tools. So I think their tools are quite similar. But it's Brock Purdy with first-round draft capital. Like the second Brock Purdy, if he signed a 5-year, $275 million extension right now, just like Trevor Lawrence signed, how much better do you feel about Brock Purdy? Like probably quite a bit, right? Like I would imagine a lot of people would feel pretty good knowing that he'd have like some value insulation.
The only issue I could see people raising is that if Brock Purdy's getting your top of the line quarterback money, well, you can argue the situation around him with Kittle, with those wide receivers, with Christian McCaffrey. Something would have to give at that point because obviously you have all those guys with Brock Purdy making minimum 7th-round money at this point. How does that change once you have to start allocating the cap differently, knowing that you don't have that type of financial flexibility?
It likely changes, but the quarterback, because he had that insulation as a young player,
and he's still tied to Shanahan,
capable of carrying the offense. That's kind of what happened to Tom Brady when you think about it. That's what happened
Same thing with
to
Dak.
Dak Prescott. Yeah, there's a lot of examples of quarterbacks who, now that they're making the big bucks, have to carry their offense, and they're capable of carrying their offense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Like, again, I think. Am I the biggest Brock Purdy fan? No, but I do feel like a lot of people, certain segments of Twitter or over scrutinize his play, in my opinion. Because quite frankly, with Brock Purdy, like you said, is it all that bad if a young quarterback just plays his role, plays the system, and then once he gets his money, takes that next step in his development? Because again, like you said with Tom Brady, same thing with Dak Prescott, man. People were talking about, 2016 to 2018. He's a game manager. He doesn't throw the ball a lot. They run the ball behind that elite offensive line in Zeke. And 2019 comes and you start seeing the 30 passing touchdown years, the 4,500 plus passing yard years. And with Brock Purdy, like, who's to say that won't happen?
Yeah, and Brock just pointed out in the chat here, he's like, they can still draft well around him, even if they're not paying their superstars or whatever. And all it takes is him having Ayuk, to be honest, realistically. Like Ayuk is, to me, the
if
best.
They trade Ayuk, that's a joke.
Yeah, and I mean McCaffrey would be a pretty big loss to that offense too. But we know what Shanahan can do with any running back, really. He can create a productive running game out of anything. And Kittle, again, also a very important part of that offense. But I feel confident that even if, like, let's say Kittle retired or whatever, moved on because he's too old, and McCaffrey retires and Debo moves on because he's too old or whatever, you got Pearsall that you replenished in the draft. You can add more running back talent, add another tight end in the draft, and be on your way. If Purdy has taken the step forward, like, dude, he's literally a 23-year-old second-year quarterback right now, and we're pretending like he needs to be perfect to be worth the money that he's about to get. Like, Tua Tagovailoa is about to get a bag. Trevor Lawrence just got a bag. Jordan Love is
Purdy's
about to
better
get a bag.
than Tua. Purdy's better than Tua.
These guys are significantly more experienced than Brock Purdy.
Purdy's better than Tua, straight up. The difference is that Tua got that. Where did he end up going in the draft?
I don't even think he's signed yet. Has he signed?
Overall? No, he hasn't, but he's going to, is what I'm saying. Like, for those of you that are like worried about Brock Purdy, it's like he's straight up better than Tua. Like, I don't know why that's a conversation.
Yeah, and he was the last pick in the draft instead of the 5th pick in the draft.
Yeah, or fifth or sixth, right?
Herbert was 6, I think.
Oh, did Tua end up actually?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was the pick ahead of Herbert.
I knew they were 5-6. I forgot that Tua was the one that went higher. Wow. That's funny looking back.
Pretty crazy.
Oh my God. Wait. One thing.
What's up?
I remember there was all the talk that Miami was considering to take Justin Herbert at 5, but apparently it was all smokescreen because they wanted to, and they took Tua a pick before. In hindsight, it's fucking hilarious because obviously the Chargers and the Dolphins fan bases basically hate each other because of the quarterback rivalry. But
Dolphins fans still argue that they picked the right quarterback, and maybe
insane.
For the system that they run now, maybe they did, but you can't look me in the eye with a straight face and say you wouldn't rather have Justin Herbert.
I think Justin Herbert's the 4th best quarterback in the league, dude. I think
Justin Herbert's a great quarterback, and he definitely is better than Tua Tagovailoa. But counter argument is that Tua is a better fit for the system that they play.
Sure. But I mean, you don't think Mike McDaniel could just alter the system for Justin Herbert?
Yeah, he absolutely could. And I don't think anybody's picking system quarterback over just elite player across the league.
Imagine the usage that Tyreek gets now with a quarterback that, is he Mahomes? No, but he's got the same type of tools: creator, big arm, mobile, extends plays. Dude, Tyreek would drop 2,500 yards if Justin Herbert was his quarterback with the volume he's getting now, because he wasn't the same volume guy in KC because obviously they had Travis Kelce. If he had the same type of volume situation now with Justin Herbert, dude, he'd be breaking NFL records.
Yeah, I still think had he not gotten banged up last year, he would have won the MVP. I still think it would have happened.
Could have.
He was literally on a tear to start the season. The first 9 games of the year, he was averaging 150 yards a game.
Dude, and that's why, again, I keep coming back to it, specifically for redraft and best ball. Knowing how screwed up the wide receiver landscape, the wide receiver avalanche is, if I had one draft, I just can't take McCaffrey over Hill and Lamb, knowing the point equity they give at wide receiver and knowing that it doesn't put you behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm starting to come around to you for sure, because I want to just load my Bijan and Breece bags because I know they can be legendary running backs this year, but the fucking landscape is making it impossible for me to do that because I have to hammer wide receivers for 5 straight picks after I select a running back in these draft rooms.
Yep, and we do get Trey Benson there. Feel good?
Oh, no.
You wanted TJ Hawkinson?
I did. I was like, dude, no way TJ Hawkinson's available in the mid-7th round here.
Yeah, for sure.
Devastating.
Is giving Purdy for London. I mean, I have London literally that high, and especially because you already have
14-team Superflex.
You have Caleb, Herbert, and Kyler, bro.
Yeah,
and
Caleb,
Purdy and Levis.
Definitely do that trade for you. But in a 14-team Superflex, I think that's probably a wash value-wise.
Oh, I agree. But what I'm saying is when you have 4 other starting quarterbacks, and how does my camera die? We're 27 minutes in.
We ride with Rashee Rice. I'll just throw you in the back seat for now. When you get back, Danny, I want to talk about the fact that Rhamondre just got a bag out of nowhere as well, because I thought that was really strange. Hey boys, hope y'all are doing well. What's going on, Brock? I don't see why Love/Lawrence should go so far ahead of Purdy. I don't think that's an outrageous take for sure. I think the difference between, for me, Lawrence and Purdy going, I don't have them this far apart, where they went in this draft, but I prefer Lawrence now, knowing that he has the contract stability and also that he runs more than Purdy does. That's kind of the difference for me. And Love too. I think that Love is maybe going a smidge too high in relation to where Purdy goes. You know what I mean? I don't think Love 2-1 is outrageous. I just think now that Lawrence has a contract, man, I will take Lawrence over Love.
Love's about to get a contract this offseason too. They've already.
It's not because he has a contract. I've always believed Lawrence was better.
Yeah, I just disagree, but that's fine. We're not going to agree on everything. Now we're still talking. Yeah, bro. Ron, we're always talking about Ashton Jeanty, bro.
I think, first of all, by the way, I think we sound Canadian when we say his name like that, because I think his name is Jeanty.
Oh, right. Jeanty.
I'm pretty sure his name is Jeanty. I know it's spelt Jeanty, but I think we just sound Canadian when we're saying it. I think it's Jeanty.
Jeanty. Well, is it the Louisiana fucking sound?
I don't know. I don't know, because it's kind of it looks French phonetic, right? The way it's written.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's not it's not actually, I don't think.
It's still funny that was because Jeanty was born in Italy, no?
No, he just played ball there. I don't think
he played ball there. Okay. There. I know he played there. Yeah, what exactly was the story there? I'm actually curious. I know the NFL Stock Exchange guys were talking about it, so I am really curious.
Yeah, no, he just bulldozed a bunch of French kids in high school that had no chance of tackling him.
From Italy to Idaho. That's quite the trip.
That is quite the trip. I guess technically we've never seen Jeanty's probably just got so much confidence because he's never played against anybody the caliber of player that he is, because he played in Italy in high school and then now he's in the Group of 5 conference in college football.
Speaking of Italy, we're going to need to get back on track tomorrow against the Crows.
Yeah. I mean, freaking Switzerland tied with Scotland, if you're wondering where my head's at.
Shaqiri had a banger, though. Shaqiri had a banger.
Dude, Shaqiri is old as hell, though. So
it's so funny because I'm pretty sure he's like a backup in the MLS now. But like every time he puts on the Switzerland shirt, it doesn't matter how good he is at that point in his career.
He fights for his country, man. He's goated.
Passion, fights for the badge, boys. Fights for the badge.
Could be worse, Bush. I have 9 dynasty teams and 0 Marvin Harrison Jr. because I didn't have any 1-2. Dude, I have a lot of Marvin Harrison Jr. That I feel good about.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, too. So in our draft, the Devy League, this bothered me, right? Lucas puts up his 201 on the block. I ended up making a trade for it, thinking he was going to take a player at 112, and he told me he wanted Amon or St. Brown, right? He ends up trading the pick to Flet, who snipes me on the guy I wanted, which was Marvin Harrison Jr.
Tough.
It is what it is.
Also, okay, I just selected Rhamondre because I kind of wanted to talk about his contract. Kind of out of the blue that they just extended him. I gotta see what the terms exactly were. I want to see how much guaranteed money is in the contract and shit. Because Rhamondre Stevenson was set to be a free agent after this season, and then they decide to extend him. I thought the plan for New England probably would have been, run him into the ground, let him walk in free agency, the way that the Patriots have always kind of handled their business. But yeah, he signed a extension with the
4-year 36, right?
It was a 4 for 36. Is that what the extension was?
I believe so.
Yeah, which is almost exactly what Swift got in terms of guarantees, I think, too.
Yeah, Swift got 3 for 24.
Oh, was it 3 for 24? Why did I think he got 36?
No, you're good.
8 signing bonus, 17 guaranteed. Base salary, average salary, signing bonus. I'm trying to see what the cash breakdown is here. Oh, they don't have it updated on Spotrac yet, but I would assume he's probably locked in guaranteed money-wise through, because he's on his last year. He's not even on his extension yet. He's the last year of his rookie deal this year. So he's got to be locked in through 2026, probably, I would imagine, in guaranteed money. That's good news for Stevenson, man. If you guys have Rhamondre Stevenson bags in Dynasty, like that is a big vote of confidence that he's going to be a starting running back for 2 to 3 years.
For sure. By the way, I will probably have to hop off at 1:45 so I can get changed and then drive because again, like it's about like a 25-minute drive, 20-minute drive from where I am. So just alluding to it.
You've been anchoring a lot of these live streams towards the end with when I was in Europe, so it's fine. I can anchor this one.
At the end of the day, for those of you listening right now, I'm not the greatest golfer. If I can just shoot at least bogey today, I'm fine.
Facts.
Yes,
Josh says, can you talk a little about T-Law? Trevor Lawrence signing an extension was huge for his value, in my opinion, because I knew he was good enough to get an extension. I think he's worth an extension. It's one less thing to worry about on the open market if you're trying to sell Trevor Lawrence, that he's already locked into a big contract. I love what they've done on offense. They tried to pigeonhole Calvin Ridley into a downfield stretch the defense role. That's not his game. It never was his game. And they have 2 guys now that can fill that role with Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabriel Davis to go along with the over the middle guys that they have with Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. I think this could be a monster year for the Jags offense. I love every single one of them at ADP outside of Thomas, because I think he's a little bit of a raw rookie and he's going high on underdog drafts because of that. In home leagues, he'll go way lower. So I'll probably be fine with him there. But I love ETN. I love Lawrence. I love Ingram. I love Kirk. Like I like all of them at their ADPs right now.
Sure. Do get a super chat here from Matt. Appreciate it. He says 12-team Superflex start 10. My wide receiver room is pretty weak, and next year's running back class is RB heavy. Was offered Waddle, Kendre, 2 firsts and a third for Bijan, Hollywood, D-Hop, and Bateman. Wide receivers are Olave, T, Ridley, and Rice. So, okay, let's equate this out. Bijan plus Hollywood. I mean, would you do Waddle, Kendre, and a 25 first for Bijan and Hollywood? Like, do you think that would equate out?
Waddle,
Kendre, 25 first for Bijan and Hollywood?
No, I would rather have Bijan and Hollywood there.
What if it's just that for Bijan?
I think Waddle that's probably about fair,
Waddle,
give or take, but I still potentially consider to start 10 wide receiver rooms pretty weak.
I think this is fine value, to be honest.
I think it's probably fine value. It's
not overwhelming value.
Yeah, I just these top end running backs, I don't like dealing them. It feels like dealing an elite quarterback, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like it's obviously not, because quarterbacks have such a great shelf life and that kind of thing, but the way you got to pry away a Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, or Bijan Robinson from me, it really does feel like the way that elite quarterbacks feel like to give away. You don't want to give those guys away.
Sorry, but 9-7 Will Levis is freer than free.
Also, 9-8 George Kittle is mentally ill. This is like for what it's worth. This is a start. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's a start 9 league, and you can only start up to 4 wide receivers per week in this format that we're doing. So George Kittle going at the 9-8 is pretty insane to me.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, I just realized I got Lab McConkey when I stacked Justin Herbert. For the record, again, quarterbacks are falling a lot further in this room because Justin Herbert at the 2-6, Will Levis at the 9-7. I feel pretty damn good about right now.
Yeah, I feel like I want to take a swing at a wideout here, but I don't 100% love the board. Maybe I'll take there's no real running backs I like either, to be honest.
So hey Henry, what's up, brother? What's up? How you doing?
I'll grab Hollywood Brown here. I feel good about him. I got the Rashee Rice Hollywood Brown double condom play.
Nico over Saquon Bush. Yeah, he also did it he also did it in the Devy Degeneracy startup because I got Saquon at the 6-8 in that league, and I mean you sniped me on Nico. I
took Higgins over him too.
Yeah,
in that league.
Yeah, the thing with Nico, man, like he's my wide receiver 10 right now in best ball. He separated an elite level last year. He's still 6'4", 215 pounds. And Stroud is one of the few quarterbacks, especially in the long term, because obviously Stroud is a younger player. But even just for this year, and of course, once you project throughout his rookie cycle, obviously when Stroud gets his extension, he's one of the few quarterbacks in the league you can basically peg in for 30-plus passing touchdowns, 4,500 plus passing yards every single year in his prime, pretty much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like Nico Collins is going higher in redraft than he goes in Dynasty, even though he just got a massive extension. He's a young player and he's tethered to a young offense.
Yeah, 100%. No, I'm on the same page as you. Where do we leave off?
It's one of those, like, I've always thought about doing a video idea like this, where it's like, let's look at some market inefficiencies in terms of Dynasty ADP
I'm down.
versus redraft ADP, because like I remember the year Gabe Davis was going as like a 4th round pick in redraft. He was like wide receiver 42 in Dynasty. It's like, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. One of these is going to be wrong. Turned out it was the best ball ADP, but
like maybe we do a video where it's like, we talk about like the biggest market inefficiencies either way and kind of like give our take on like what side of the pendulum we're on.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good chance we might be in the middle somewhere, but on a lot of them, but there's definitely, like on the Nico side, I'm definitely closer to the redraft ADP for sure.
For sure. So some guy in my Dynasty League traded away Ayuk for Najee. Yeah, no, he is a Pittsburgh homer. I
sniped so hard on Evan Ingram as I was gassing him up.
Yeah, dude, you got sniped on Kittle and then you got sniped on Ingram. That's crazy.
Well, I was like, I could surely push one of Njoku, Spears, or Ingram to my next pick, and they all just went.
Now you're gonna snipe me. I already know it. Pacheco becoming overvalued. Actually, Matthew, to be honest, I think he's more than fine value, to be honest.
I mean, not in this draft.
And not in this draft. I mean, 410, he usually goes a little bit later than that, but I think he's a quality 5th round pick, to be honest, even in Dynasty. He's like a top 10 running back for me still.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he's a fine fifth-ish rounder. I took him, I got to remember where I took him in Flock Me Silly. I think I took him in like the 6th round. And I thought that was pretty insane.
I love this deal for you, Pionio. I love it.
Eckler and CMC. I'm not even Brown in a rebuild. I mean, that's a prototypical everybody wins trade right there.
Yeah, amen. Gonna have to build the wide receiver core now. A little bit love my start with the 2 stacks. Yes, sir. Oh yeah, he's actually in the draft. So a couple guys asked for the reviews, but I unfortunately most likely will be gone by then. So
it's actually way easier for me to do them when I'm solo anyway, so I can just rip as many of those as possible.
Yeah, I'll watch it back to hear the shit you talk about. No, I'm kidding.
Trade question was offered Keon for Sutton in a 2025 second.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
It's probably fair value. It really depends what you think of Keon Coleman.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. So if I have Stroud, Love, and T-Law in a league, should I trade one of them for a wide receiver? I mean, depending on the value, I would. Yeah, like if you can get,
I mean,
if T-Law can get you close to a Modern,
I would say Love would be the one I would trade of that.
T-Law would be the one I trade.
I wouldn't do that because T-Law is the one that's worth the least and the lowest market sentiment right now.
I just believe more in Love personally.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, maybe with the extension, people are more apt to trade for Trevor Lawrence, but I think you could probably have your pick of the litter at any wide receiver position by Jordan Love, plus maybe a small piece to get to those top guys.
Are we at all thinking about the possibility that somebody would offer one of the top 3 wide receivers plus for Stroud too? Because if that's available, I would also be willing to do that.
I think that's possible, but I would prefer to keep Stroud.
Sure, but what if somebody's like, "Hey, I'll offer you Jefferson, Lamb, or Chase plus," versus the market for T-Law / Love?
I think that's not going to cost you that much more to do Love plus for one of those guys.
Maybe, but it's like, what? Okay, I love Stroud. If T-Law and Love hit, what is actually the difference between them versus Stroud?
No, there's no difference, to be honest. They're all kind of the same. The difference is
it's just the risk tolerance
slightly older, I guess.
Like a year older.
Yeah, they're not that much older.
So yeah. That's
why if you can say that with a straight face about Trevor Lawrence, then you absolutely agree he is one of the most undervalued quarterbacks in the
I like
if
Trevor
he has a CJ Stroud range of outcomes in terms of his value, we should be drafting this guy at the end of the first.
I like Trevor Lawrence, but at the same time, there's just other quarterbacks in that range I also really like. Like I also really love Justin Herbert. I also really love Jordan Love. I also really love Anthony Richardson, Kyler Murray. Like there's just so many good quarterbacks in that range. It's just T-Law is like more so at the end of that group, even though I acknowledge the ceiling is absolutely there. I just think he's a more risky profile compared to a couple of those guys personally. Again, what I saw from Love last year legitimately looked like an MVP quarterback. I understand face value. Okay, small sample size. That is the risk in itself. But what I saw in that sample size is a ceiling that only Stroud has hit from the young quarterbacks, to be honest.
Well, first of all, Jordan Love is not a young quarterback. He's over
25
years old. Yeah, 25. But like he's not a young quarterback in terms of like he's
not
like
the same age as
older
Trevor?
than CJ Stroud is.
Yeah, he's like the same age as Trevor, no?
No, Trevor's a year and a half younger than him.
Oh, fair. Okay, year difference.
I don't know. To me, I look at Lawrence as the exact same bet as Love, to be honest.
It is.
Like you're betting on the flashes.
I just believe in Love more. It's
just one of them had flashes more recently. That's why we're betting on him. Like just last year, we were taking Lawrence with a top 6 pick because he had a monster playoff run.
The other factor, too, is the upside that he is attached to Matt LaFleur. He is attached to offensive continuity versus I'm a little bit more insecure about the Jaguar situation.
I'm not, to be honest.
You are?
I think the weapons are better.
I agree with the weapons, but more so like Doug Peterson's a fine coach. I think Matt LaFleur's an elite coach.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. I think LaFleur's a better coach.
Where do we leave off, by the way? I keep trying to track
You're on the clock, but I am that we can rip through.
So. You guys just rinsed the wide receiver board down.
God damn. We just smoked it. I took like 6 wideouts. Dem Boy says nice snipe on Benson, Danny. And yes, Ethan's been commenting due diligence for like 4 days straight, and I love it.
Dude, longer than that, bro. He's been commenting due diligence since I used that term, like 4 months straight, it feels like.
To be fair, I'm responding to a lot of them. I've been noticing all of them.
Ethan will know who replies to his comment because when it's you say something like different every time. When it's me replying to it, I say do motherfucking diligence every time. That's my reply to him.
Switzerland Shaqiri is just different. Yeah, I mean, we're probably gonna get smoked by Germany, but I'm excited for that game.
That'll be
regardless.
Fun. Pats have actually been rumored to extend it for a while. Yeah, that makes sense. OTC versus spot check. I actually have you used OTC?
Over the cap is definitely better. Also, I don't know how we've gone 42 minutes without talking about the fact that McDavid and the Oilers are about to pull some straight history.
Dude, I am so happy. I mean,
we can't say because it hasn't happened. Tomorrow night is game 7 of that series, but it is crazy that they've reverse sweep back to an even series.
Correction. I'm so happy they've taken it to this point. Because if I had to hear from Panthers fans about how they swept McDavid and they're the best team in the league, which would have been factual, let's not lie about that, I would have hated it. Again, I hate the Panthers compared to some of the other teams in the Atlantic? No, but like when you're a fan of an Atlantic team, like the only team in the Atlantic I would be like, okay, whatever. If they won, would be like the Sabres because like their fan base has been deprived.
I'm a fan of an Atlantic team too with the Leafs, but I only dislike the Habs and the Bruins. It's the only 2 teams I dislike. And I don't like the Lightning either.
The Lightning.
I guess. I don't know, man. I think the Bruins specifically just take up so much of my hatred towards hockey that I don't really have much left over for other franchises.
People like again, when the team plays the Leafs in the playoffs, I'll just root against the Leafs because it's also funny just seeing the suffer. Because again, if I'm gonna face it as a Cowboys fan, I want to see at least another fan base go through it as well, so I can not be the only one suffering. But I will say, just if I had to play against one team or another, who would I rather lose? Who would I less? Okay, how do I word this? Who would I more rather beat? Like obviously, I would want to beat both, but who would I hate losing to more? I would hate losing to Boston more than I hate losing to Toronto. 100%.
Everyone hates Boston. It's just a fact.
Dirty,
also, Flood's got a good point
bastards.
here. What's to dislike about Tampa? Like, I don't really think there's much dislikable about them.
Cap circumvention. They had a dynasty for a little bit. And then for me personally, obviously, they beat us in the finals. Like,
they've knocked us out of the playoffs way more than they've knocked you guys out of the playoffs.
They beat us in the Stanley Cup finals, bro.
Okay. Like, I don't know.
They beat us in the Stanley Cup final. Ooh, Dontavian Wicks. Don't mind if I do.
How'd they beat you in the Stanley Cup final? They were an Eastern Conference team.
Brother, you don't remember the COVID year?
Oh, right. Yeah. That
you forgot we made the cup final?
Well, I mean, nobody actually thinks that's a real year. So,
relax, buddy. Relax.
That was a complete Mickey Mouse finals appearance. So.
Hey, you know what's funny? The Habs won the Western Conference final that year. They're in the East.
Yeah,
they won the Western Conference.
Like the fact that two Eastern Conference teams were in the finals means that there's absolutely no reason we're chalking that as a real Stanley Cup.
To be fair, the Habs literally beat the President's Trophy winning Vegas Golden Knights that year.
Nice. But like, what did they win the President's Trophy with, like 20 wins? Like, how many games were even played that year?
Also, the cap thing is an NHL problem. You can I get it, but like I'm not saying I hate them because of the cap. It's more so like just seeing them, like they knocked us out of the playoffs a couple times in the 2010s when the Habs were a team that was a consistent force. Obviously, again, you want to call it fake President's Trophy, fake fucking NHL playoffs. All I'm going to say is that would have been Stanley Cup number 25 if Montreal does win that series. It doesn't matter how
I will say, like, of all the major sports that had championships, like hockey's was easily the most Mickey Mouse of the sport. Like, it was just such a fake trophy. Anybody who won a Stanley Cup. Like, the NFL didn't actually cancel any games during the COVID year. You know what I mean? Like, there was no issue with COVID whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure.
People call the Bucks won a fake trophy. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, there no games were canceled.
I will have to make my last pick and hop ball, by the way. It is 146, but the last thing I'll say, okay, Dynasty started Daniel's squad so far. DJ Pittman, Jacobs, Pitts. Honestly, if I look back at the squad, so you had London, you had Caleb, you had A-Rich, I think. Let me check. He DM'd it to me.
I mean, if you have Caleb, going DJ Moore makes a lot of sense.
Going DJ Moore, Devontae, London, AR, and Caleb. So 2 quarterbacks, 2 wide receivers.
I take Pitts off the board for the fact that you already have London, and also AJ. I know you're a Falcons fan, so you probably have like 78 different Pitts shares across the rest of your dynasty league. So I probably would not take Pitts.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Got a great name, Hawk Tua.
I have no idea what this meme is.
You didn't see it?
No clue what it is. No,
did you not see my tweet the other day?
No, but I've seen a million people tweet out like Hawk Tua, and I have no fucking idea what it means.
I tweeted out Hawk Tua daughter or Costco guy's son with the Rizzler.
Never again.
Wait, if you guys are familiar with the Rizzler. Sorry, I had to show that. Let me get my screen back going.
Matt said, what was his question? Shit, I forget what it. Oh, he said he does have Swift in his running back room and also has 2 1s and 2 seconds to work with. So this was in relation to the super chat with the Bijan trade. I mean, it doesn't look like your team is good enough to compete regardless, the way I look at this. So if you wanted to move off of Bijan, pivot that into more capital and get Waddle out of it, I think that's probably fine.
I am going to walk out, by the way, because I do have to start getting ready. Because, again, 2:30 tea time, and you know how the drive is going to the range. I also have to pick up some balls, so.
I mean, you could just be like me and just be late every tea time you've ever booked.
I've never been to this course, so I don't know how strict they are on it, which is why. If it was the course that I usually go to, like sometimes I'll show up like 5-10 minutes late and they're super chill about it. This one, literally when I booked, it said on the prompt, it's like, make sure you're here 10 to 15 minutes early. And I've never been to this course before, so I don't know how fucking serious they are with the bookings.
True. Okay. Have a good one.
Take care.
All right. I shall rip through this draft and then I can grade some teams and whatnot. And then we'll get out of here, hopefully around the hour mark. David says, yeah, Greg, we already read this. Fuck, I'm trolling already. It's actually got disgusting with the Falcon share. Oh, now I have to share my screen because Danny was the one doing that. Okay. Yeah, it is. AJ, you know what? An easy way to rectify this problem would be to trade Kyle Pitts up to me for the No Flocking League, because I know you have him in that league as well. Bring up the Devy draft. Bush, see the squads? Yeah, that's a good idea, actually, Flood. I can bring those up. I'm assuming you mean the NFL side, but I could also bring up the. Oh, I can't. Fuck. See, you know why I can't do that, Flet? Oh, actually, never mind. I can because Sleeper for some reason doesn't let you do best ball, but it does actually show. It does let me show the squads here. So, looking at our original mock that we're doing right now, let's just go over the teams really fast here. So I ended up just grabbing the value on McCarthy. You could definitely make the argument I could have went with like a running back in that spot, but I mean, was I going to really take Josh Jacobs over a falling quarterback? Probably not. In a league like this, I would probably be looking to move off of one of those QBs, get a great at quarterback and maybe pocket a running back out of it. But I like how my team turned out. I mean, Waddle, Nico, T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Christian Watson at wide receiver with Burrow, Lawrence, JJ McCarthy at quarterback. And then I really punted tight end hard with Goddard at 11-9. I'm just annoyed that I got sniped on Ingram and Kittle and Hawkinson too, because I would have felt pretty good with all of those. I know Pack It Up was in this too. I'll look at his team. Lamar Jackson, Breece Hall, Jared Goff. I mean, to me, 4-7 for Jared Goff is probably fine, especially when you got Laporta at 3-6. I have a hard time clicking the button on Jared Goff. I don't know why. I just think knowing that I could have got McCarthy there a round later, I probably would have just done that. But again, hindsight's 2020. I do like the way you built this out. Obviously, a very competitive build. You kind of stuck to that. If you're going to go competitive, I mean, the second you make a selection like Mike Evans, there's really no reason why you shouldn't be taking all the value on a Joe Mixon, a Keenan Allen, a James Conner, guys like that. I think that's one thing that sometimes people get themselves into trouble with is they'll take a Mike Evans and they'll be like, oh, no, I can't take any more old players. This is my only old player. And then you start taking Kendre Miller over James Conner, and it just doesn't really make sense in the context of some teams. So I think you did really well there. Yeah, other than that, I'll flip over to the Devy draft here so that you guys can get an idea for what it looked like. This is the least active I've ever been in a draft. Look at that. Straight down the board. And mainly the reason for that was because this draft started while I was in Europe, and it was a 6-hour time difference, and it was just such a pain in the ass doing trade negotiations. Plus, I mean, there's a ton of sharp people in here. Ron's right here. I mean, Sexy Pats, FF Mike, content creator as well. Bindles makes best ball content. You got Jacob Sanderson right here. You got Fletsky, who's a classic. You got Danny. You got Caleb makes content. Like, a lot of people were pretty sharp in this draft. So this is what I ended up with. Again, I'm not 100% in love with this team. I have Jalen Hurts as my main quarterback there. Getting Breece Hall feels good. This is a best ball league too, and it's a 1.75 tight end premium. So I am very behind the 8 ball at tight end, but hopefully I can make it up in numbers. I didn't really get the greatest value on my tight ends. In hindsight, I definitely would have taken George Kittle over Josh Jacobs where I did. Take Jacobs there, but I feel okay about my team. And then I'll see if I can pull up the actual Devy draft board here so you can see what the Devy startup looks like as well. Go over to this, and then this is what the Devy board looks like so far. So we got Luther Burden go 101, Tet McMillan go 102. Danny took the aforementioned Ashton Jeanty 103, and that caused the whole ruckus in the chat because he should have taken Jeremiah Smith in a lot of people's opinions, but I would have taken Jeanty as well. Mecca Igbuka, Evan Stewart both go. And then I took Ollie Gordon at 107. Riley takes Quinshon Judkins, Micah Hudson. I don't even know who that is. Again, my opinion on Devy is I will take the players with the most information because you have a Devy startup essentially every single year anyways. So yeah, it probably feels great to hit on a Jeremiah Smith 4 years from when he's coming out for the NFL draft or 3 years for when he's coming out of the NFL draft. But to me, it just makes way, way more sense to draft players and Luther Burden and Mecca Igbuka, guys that have reasonable information on the guys that we know, relatively speaking, what their prospect profile is going to look like. I intend to go heavy on this running back class in this Devy startup because I know it's expected to be very good. Maybe I'll take some dart throws at quarterback or whatever the case is, wide receiver as well. But for me, I'm very much focused on the 2025 class in this Devy startup as I was last year when we did our Devy startup, focused mainly on the 2024. Because it's just way easier to project guys. I feel like the way you lose a Devy league is by burning Devy picks, by drafting guys that don't turn into anything. So even if I'm taking hypothetically a guy who has 80% the ceiling of a Jeremiah Smith or a Micah Hudson, I'd rather hit a second round wide receiver than a top 5 pick one every 10 times because I finally hit on one of these random 5-star prospects that actually turned into something. Because I don't know how many times I've done tail the tape videos where I talk about My apologies. My internet completely fell off the face of the earth as usual recently. But yeah, if anybody else has any other questions, I can answer some of those before I head out of here. Once this comes back live on the channel, I'll cut that part out. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any other questions. We will probably head off of here tomorrow. We're gonna have a Dynasty Decisions episode. So for those of you guys that are waiting on a team to get broken down, we will be dropping that tomorrow. And then as well, I plugged it at the beginning of the stream, but we do have team reviews live on the site as a la carte purchases. And again, if you sign up annually, you do get a free one of those. And if you signed up annually and we didn't have team reviews available yet, just get at me for getting a free voucher for you. So Jerry, I actually did have to close all my tabs out because I thought I was lagging out, but I'll see if I can pull it back up and break down a couple more of your teams here. Hopefully I'll be able to. Mock drafts completed. I think this is the one that I was just in. Yeah, this looks to be it. Okay, I'll bring this one back up here. Alrighty. We do have, what did you say? 102, I believe you said you were. Yeah. Okay, 102. You got Patrick Mahomes, Jahmyr Gibbs, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Achane, James Cook, JSN. Yeah, so I look at this team. I think you've done a good job. Again, once you select Tyreek Hill, you're pretty much committed to the bit. You pretty much have to compete at that point because you have an aging player who is going to probably retire at some point in the next couple of years. So I like the way you built it out. You go heavy on offenses that are very talented. Mahomes, Gibbs, Tyreek, DJ Moore, Achane, James Cook, JSN, all those offenses I feel pretty good about. I think you may have waited a little too long for wide receiver depth outside of Tyreek Hill and DJ Moore. I might have gone a different direction than James Cook. And then also too, he said, Jerry says, I think I should have taken Kittle there instead of Ferguson. I definitely would have done that as well, especially knowing that you were kind of already, pigeonholed into the competitive window with the Tyreek pick. I definitely would have gone with Kittle there. But overall, pretty decent draft. I give you like kind of a B, straight B if you want. And then Corey also says, to check out his team. So you got Lamb, Amon-Ra, and Rome Odunze to start off. I might not have gone with Odunze in that spot because you were pretty behind the 8 ball at quarterback. I would have been fine taking May where you took Odunze there at 311 and then going with maybe a Tua on the way back or something. But I don't have too many issues with it. I definitely wouldn't have spent the 511 on Bryce Young. I have a feel like I've noticed because I've done a lot of startups and that kind of thing, that Bryce Young, Bo Nix, Will Levis, like look where Danny got Will Levis at the 9.7. Bo Nix goes at the 8.3. To me, there's not a huge difference between those quarterbacks. Like I know maybe Bryce Young, better prospect coming out and that kind of thing, but after his rookie season, I view the ranges of outcomes very similarly. So I definitely would have waited on your quarterback 2 more. It feels like you waited on quarterback and then you're like, oh shit, I got to get them now. I would have done the uncomfortable thing and tried to punt it to the 7-11 because had you done that, you could have grabbed Bo Nix and Will Levis and had Drake May, Bo Nix, Will Levis as a nice little young quarterback trio, or maybe you could have gone with one competitive guy there. But overall, I think I like the look of the team, like that you went light at running back. I probably don't go Sinnott after taking Njoku, but that's fine. It's not a huge deal in terms of there. And then Cody asked about the 110. We got Marvin Harrison, Kyler Murray stack, Purdy there, ETN, Worthy, Pickens, Coleman, Bo Nix. I actually don't really disagree with any picks that you made here. I actually really like this team. There's not a huge, I wouldn't really have any complaints other than the Najee pick. I might have gone with one more wide out there knowing that Godwin was on the board. But aside from that, I think you did a really good job. I think there was one more person. Okay. Cody was Cody. Okay. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, DD tomorrow. So if you guys are waiting on a DD submission, we will get to some tomorrow. And like I said before, Dynasty Decisions episodes, as you guys know, Flock subscribers, we haven't done one in a while, so I'm certain it will be a lot of Flock teams that we break down. And if you do want your team reviewed ASAP, maybe you just had a startup or you have a rookie draft or something still coming up, head on over to flockfantasy.com, use the promo code FSE when you sign up, and then also you'll get a free voucher to get a team review over there. And then yes, Carl wants me to go through his 101, so I'll quickly go through that and then we'll close this thing out here. So Josh Allen, AJ Brown, Malik Neighbors, Kincaid at the 412. I can't get behind. This is a no tight end premium mock. Maybe you just didn't know that. But I would say in any kind of non-tight end premium, I'm notoriously an anti-tight end guy. So 412 to me on any tight end that's not named Laporta or Bowers is a little early. Pittman Jordan Addison, Watson at 7-1 is pretty solid there. Cooper Kupp, Kamara, you took a lot of value at the competitive position. So, yeah, I like this team too. I think you did a good job on that one. But yeah, appreciate you guys for joining. We will talk to you next time. Stay tuned for DD tomorrow. We're going to be in Buffalo on Tuesday doing a lot of Best Ball Mania drafts. And of course, sign up on Underdog, as you guys know. And Game 7 for the NHL Stanley Cup Finals is tomorrow as well. And then also, too, we what was the other thing I was going to say? We have Switzerland, Germany today. So I'm not a huge soccer fan, and the Euro Cup's going. I am actually Swiss, so I'm going to be curious to watch that game. We'll probably get stomped by Germany, but who knows? Maybe we can pull out an upset. So peace out, guys. We'll talk to you soon.